Hello, I'm Lorette Ligon, President of the Jacksonville Onslow Chamber of Commerce. The mission of our chamber is to be the voice of business and collaborative partnerships that will work to build and enhance a healthy business climate and a vibrant quality of life. So when I received the call from the Carolina Small Business Development Fund to be a part of this presentation that will discuss resources and programs for veteran and military spouse-owned businesses, the answer was a resounding yes. Our chamber is in the business of growing small business. I hope you find this information of value and that it will be something that you can use for the growth of your own business. To get us started on the details of this exciting new program is Linwood V. Long Sr., President, CEO of the Small Business Development Fund. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. What a delight to be in the great city of Jacksonville, North Carolina. Makes me a little homesick, being from Pamlico County. But certainly, Ms. Ligon, thank you so much for, one, your warm reception and your desire to want to work with us to make this happen. My job is to give you a welcome on behalf of the Carolina Small Business Development Fund, and how excited we are to be a part of a national demonstration project that look at how we can be responsive to lending to veterans across the state. It is good that North Carolina, along with Texas and California, are three states that J.P. Morgan Chase selected to pilot this program of how do you make capital and business services accessible to our veterans. Isn't that a good thing? But isn't it good that North Carolina was selected? If y'all don't say yes, I'm going to say yes. It's a good thing. It is a good thing. And certainly want to thank Senator Brown for being here, and Secretary Hall, and certainly Ms. Shaw for her great work with Community College and Small Business Center, a champion for small businesses across this great state. We are definitely delighted because veterans are very important to our lending. One of the things that attracted J.P. Morgan Chase to us was that as you look at our lending portfolio, over 18.6% of our lending went to veterans. And I think that's great. And I tell them that nothing happened by accident. How many believe that? It does not happen like that. We were very intentional about lending to veterans. We were so intentional that we designed a special program for veterans. And staff always have to remind me and say, look, we do have some guidelines to follow. Let's make sure that when we structure right. Because at the end of the day, we want to see our veterans succeed. Whether it's a startup or whether it's an existing business, we want to see them to succeed. And we're excited to be a part of that. But, you know, I just show up and I say a few words, but the real work is done by my staff. And I'm going to ask them to stand. I see Joe Balla, who is our Vice President for Business Services, and Angela, she doesn't like to stand, who is works as our Business Service Manager. Teresita, who is Vice President for Strategic Initiative, and Janice Rojas, who's really boss all of us, next to Anastasia Bowden, who is our development. And in the back, we have Leslie, who worked with business services and disaster recovery, which is very important, and D-Man, Robert Retta, who does most of our veteran lending. And Robert did a great workshop yesterday. Thank you, y'all may be sitting. Robert did a great workshop yesterday with veterans at the community college. I understand the good report, there were over 65, close to 65 in attendance yesterday. Hooray! that was good news. So, but it is interesting to be here in Jacksonville, where over 10.5% of the population is veterans. 13.7% of businesses are owned by veterans. That's a great thing, because if you look at statewide, over 10% of our veterans and we think that number is going to increase, is lending and businesses owned by veterans. This state is rich with veterans, and I thought we were a little higher, but nationally, we are 8 in terms of the number of veterans in this state. And I think, again, that attracted to J.P. Morgan Chase to the fact that North Carolina is very important when it comes to our veteran population. How many believe that? Right? And so we have a number of veterans who are transitioning, and as they transition, they are looking at not only finding jobs, but how do I take the skill set that I have and apply them to doing and being my own boss, right? Because one thing about a veteran, not only do they know fellowship, but they understand that fellowship makes good leaders, right? And so they know they have skills and they want to apply them to creating their own business. So we're excited about that. And as I hasten to my seat, they're getting ready to give me a clue that my time is up. That I'd be remiss if we didn't give J.P. Morgan Chase recognition for their support. To invest $1 million in North Carolina is very significant. To say, in fact, it's 1.1 million, right? But to make that investment says that what we are doing for veterans entrepreneurship in this state is very important. And we hope to build upon that, and we hope to leverage those dollars in a way that we can expand our lending to veterans. Because as we look at the portfolio, up until this year, we had over $4 million in lending to veterans. That's significant. And then this year alone, we have over $1.1 million that really are going to veterans. And I looked at the pipeline, and I understand we have over $2.8 million of funds of application for veterans. And I began to ask the question, where you can get the money? And I'm glad you're here, Senator Brown. Nothing like pressure, right? There's no pressure. But we do think that investing in lending for veterans is very important. They are, as small businesses, are over 87% of the businesses in this state are small businesses, and they are the backbone of this economy. They make North Carolina resilient. They make the economy resilient because they are very impactful in local economy. How many believe that? All right, I got 50% of the people that believe that. That's good. So again, it's my pleasure to be here. I couldn't think of another place to be closer than being in Pamlico County to be in Onslow County, because it brings back so many memories. As many of you know, back in the day, if you lived in Pamlico County, you had 2 options, right? What were the 2 options? I'm glad you asked that question. One option was working at Cherry Point, and the other option was driving, and many of us did, drive from Pamlico County to Jacksonville to work at the Marine base, Camp Lejeune. So it's good to be what I call home when I come to Onslow County. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure now to bring on the great senator from this area who does well, who represents you all very well, Senator Brown. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Linwood. Now, how do you follow Linwood? You know, that's tough, you know. It's sure good to be here today. And Linwood, you're right. I think you touched on a key piece. You know, as a small business owner myself, I know the key piece that a lot of small businesses and people that want to get into business have a hard time doing is finding capital. Yeah. And that's the number one issue that they have to deal with is where do I find money? So the money that you are able to create and help with some of these individuals is surely needed. And I can't thank you enough for what you do, because I promise you there'll be a long line waiting to get that money, and it'll go pretty quick. So your challenge is going to be, who do I give it to? Because there's going to be a list to do that. And you know, living here in Jacksonville, I say all the time, North Carolina is the most military-friendly state in the nation, and I'm going to argue that Jacksonville is the most military-friendly city in North Carolina. You know, our military affairs committee that I served on for about 20 years before I got in the Senate, I just know how active it was with the base, and, we just do so many good things working with the military here. And that includes veterans who want to stay here and open a business and continue to live and work here. And I think that's what this is all about today. I think I got about 125 employees, and probably half, if not more, of my employees are ex-military. They're veterans. And I can tell you, I couldn't run my business without them. So it tells you how important they are to our economy here in Jacksonville, and in particular, Eastern North Carolina and the state of North Carolina as we move forward. Talking about Sheila, over at community college, Sheila and the community college here do such a daggum great job with their training, with these individuals. If somebody wants to get in business, you can go over there, and I promise you, Ann Shaw is going to take them, and she's going to set them up to be successful. And that's what it's all about. It's one thing wanting to get into business, but you want to be successful. And getting off to a good start is key, and I know our community college does a great job at that, and we offer so many good programs, and Ann, I can't thank you enough for the job you do, because it's so important, and it's a big part of our community.
It's the team, April and the team.
That's it. And also on the state level, there has been a new focus on hiring veterans. Sheila Knight works on with the partnership now. She's part of the board for the partnership for economic development in North Carolina. And Sheila will tell you that one of the key things that we're looking at is how we hire veterans, how we keep our veterans in North Carolina. And that is a key focus, and it's something we've got to continue to work at. But I think we've got a plan, and I think it's a good plan, because those people that we can keep here, they're such great employees, they're disciplined, they're trained already in most cases. They just become good employees, and if they want to open their own business, they become good business owners. And that's what you want in your communities, whether it's Jacksonville or anywhere else in North Carolina. So we got a lot going on. We're lucky to live where we live. I tell people in Raleigh all the time that I've got the best district in the state, and I still think I do. Jacksonville's still a little bit of a hidden secret, I think, in North Carolina. Most people don't realize how big Jacksonville is now and how much Onslow County has grown. But the reason it has done that is because it's a great place to live and work and raise a family. So thanks for letting me be here and be a part of this today. And this is a good program. And Linwood, get that money out as fast as you can, because that's going to be the key. So thank you so much.
They're telling Linwood to come introduce me, but since I know Senator Brown, I really don't need any introduction. I know Linwood as well. I'm Secretary Larry Hall of the North Carolina Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. I'm glad to be here today, not just because I was stationed at Camp Lejeune for quite a while and rotated back and forth at the base as a reservist as well after my active time. Senator Brown nailed it when he said how big Jacksonville has grown, as well as how much of a hidden secret it is for North Carolinians and other people who have not been to Camp Lejeune and don't know that much about Eastern North Carolina. The key thing about today's event is to make sure people understand the resources that are available. And Linwood talked about 1.1 million. Senator Brown said his difficulty is going to be handing it out. I would say a second responsibility that he's going to have is to go find another couple billion, million, whatever, to hand out, because we have approximately 78,000 veteran-owned small businesses in North Carolina. And certainly they aren't fully capitalized. They're not realizing their full potential. But we know if we're going to hire veterans, the best source for veteran hiring is other veterans who have started their own businesses that are successful. So we want to both encourage all businesses to hire veterans where possible. Senator Brown emphasized the fact that there's a trained workforce. Linwood Long emphasized the fact that it has a workforce that has character, leadership, and followership training already before they use their specific skills. And so at the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, we work with a lot of partners across the state to encourage two things, basically. Keep our trained military here in North Carolina understand that federal dollars, by and large, have paid for their training. So when we get them here in North Carolina to stay after they leave military service, we have a value add, not just to the state of North Carolina, but to small businesses and other businesses that hire them and let them use that skill in a civilian setting. So that is key. The other thing we want to do, of course, is ensure they get the training they deserve and use all their veterans' benefits. Some of those benefits are small business-related loans and funding and assistance, as well as attending educational courses and conferences that will help them in business. So we want our veterans to stay. We want them to be great employees. We want them to be great business owners. We want them to be great community members. And if we have strong communities, we'll have a strong state. And so a lot of times, people fail to appreciate how big our military presence is. First of all, always think that every military person has a family. So when you talk about military, you're talking about military families and therefore communities. We have approximately, by our count, approximately 1 million military members. Now, by the last census, the numbers were up at around 880,000. But we think at the next census, it'll be in excess of 1 million veterans in North Carolina. And that means they have families. They are more than, in most instances, eligible for veterans assistance. We help them get that assistance in all those areas, and we want them to be able to start businesses, hire other veterans, hire throughout the community, and make North Carolina a greater state. So it's important to us. Over 102 active duty military in the state, over 32,000 reservists and National Guard in this state, over 100 reserve and National Guard centers. So throughout this state, if you say North Carolina, you have said military. And what is good for the community is good for the military. So we appreciate Linwood, the North Carolina Small Business Center, getting these funds out to these businesses in these communities. And we hope that the training that the community college and workforce development folks will do as partners will make them be more successful. There's no way that anyone does it by themselves. So the North Carolina Small Business Development Fund has partners. And Linwood, I know you're out beating the bushes, going to the big banks, going to the lending and investment institutions, and finding more capital to help support these businesses. So I look forward to many more announcements like this and more support for small businesses and specifically for veteran-owned businesses. Thank you.
They just told me, say, you falling behind on your job. So yeah, I didn't realize I was to do this, but I'm here. And next, it's my pleasure to bring on Matt Boss, who is Executive Director, J.P. Morgan Chase, the man with the money. All right, come on. All right, yeah. Thank you, Secretary Hall and Senator Brown. I'm getting ready to tweet you all out.
Thank you for the warm introduction, Linwood, and thank everybody for having J.P. Morgan Chase here in the room to present to you all today. I want to introduce myself. I'm an executive director with the commercial bank for J.P. Morgan Chase in Raleigh, covering all companies from Raleigh East. I'm a native North Carolinian from Winston-Salem, went to school in Chapel Hill. So I really don't have any reason to leave the borders of this state for more than about 2 or 3 hours at a time. So to echo, the comments that everyone's made here today, it's very important to J.P. Morgan Chase to be here to support the efforts that we've had. First and foremost, before I get into a couple other comments, I'd like to thank all the veterans for their service and commitment to their country. My dad is a veteran, my uncle is a veteran. It's touched my family in a lot of ways, and it's nice to be in an organization that is here and actually actively willing to support the veteran affairs across the country, and especially here in North Carolina, my native state. So wanted to talk about basically, and we've talked about it, I'll repeat some of the comments that Linwood made. With 87,000 veteran-owned companies in the state, North Carolina is the ranking 8th state in the country for veteran-owned companies. That's a big deal. We're in a position right now where we want to take the concepts of idealization for veteran-owned startup businesses and make them transition into commercialization. So put a plan together to take an idea, put it into practice, provide the financing, the training to get there and make it a reality. Because as we heard earlier, the more veteran-owned businesses that are out there, beginning and existing, the more opportunities for our veterans that want to go into business after they've served as well. So it kind of continues to build on itself, and we want to be a big part of that going forward. Couple things at JP Morgan Chase that we focus on with our Veterans Affairs are, and there's three main tenets. The number one is employment. Basically, at this point, we are in the position where we've hired at JP Morgan Chase around 2,000 veterans per year, and we continue to want to grow that effort going forward through the next 50 years to continue to make that a reality. Training and development, we heard about training. So we want to be able to not only train folks to join the workforce, but once they join the workforce, continue their training at JP Morgan Chase and through other avenues such as this one to continue the training aspects to provide training to our veterans as well as they continue as business owners and business owner participants. And then the third tenet is the small business and strategic initiatives that JP Morgan Chase is behind. A couple of examples, one being Bunker Labs and one being the Carolina Small Business Development Fund. We've been supporting Bunker Labs here for several years. We recently, to the Raleigh-Durham chapter, committed another $100,000 to continue the growth of that organization. To continue along those lines, to build on our success with Bunker Labs, JP Morgan Chase has donated over $1 million to the Carolina Small Business Development Fund as a part of our partnership and commitment to the space as well. And we continue to look for opportunities to invest, to train, and to help our veterans as they transition into the business side of the workforce. The punchline ultimately comes down to is the more organizations that are committed to supporting veterans, not only nationwide, but specifically to our audience here locally, the more help and the exponential growth that we will see in veteran-owned business growth and veteran-owned employment post-service. So again, wanted to thank you all for having us. I really enjoyed meeting everybody. Look forward to talking after the events today, and I look forward to hearing more from the speakers in the room about how we can help veteran-owned business, and specifically any questions after the fact as to how JP Morgan can interact and continue to help with that, just let me know. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Matt. I thought you were going to say, look, I got a great surprise. We got another $1 million. It's in the mail, right? It's in the mail. Again, certainly thank all those who have shared great, rich comments. And now we want to bring forth a small business veteran who we recently funded here in Onslow County. And we'll let him come and tell his story. Is John Hunter. He's a Marine veteran, being Army Airborne. I won't say anything about that, but it's one military, right? But we used to escort Marines when I was jumping from airplanes. He's the owner of Green Claims. Come on up.
Morning, everyone. So I had this speech that I typed up last month because I was so excited, but it got canceled and rescheduled to this month. And I was talking to my wife, and I was like, man, how should I go about it? Because I don't really do a whole lot, other than talking to the Marines, but it's different. You have a different audience here. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name's John Hunter. I'm an active duty Marine. I'm still active duty. I have 20 years in the Marine Corps. Enlisted I enlisted in 1997 from Alabama. I started, one of my first units I worked with was here on New River. I was a aviation electronics technician, worked for New River, working on soldering stuff for aircraft and weapon systems, and then transitioned into computers. So I started working with Unix and Cisco and computer networking. I got picked up for an officer program. So had opportunity to, as a staff sergeant, become an officer. So I went back home to Auburn, got my degree in construction, commercial construction management, and now I'm here. So I'm a captain. I'm currently a company commander for Combat Engineer Battalion. So I have about 130 Marines spread all over the place. So, but when they gave me the opportunity to speak, I just kind of wanted to speak because there are a lot of veterans like me that just don't have a voice. So I just want to, this is You know, a lot of you guys hit great points where you have people that, good people that just want opportunities to grow. For me, that's been the Marine Corps. I've learned a lot of things from the Marine Corps as far as planning and scheduling and how to do things. So kind of this is my forum for that. With that being said, you know, I believe just having a viable plan, a strong team, and availability of funding sources, all key points that were hit today, were crucial to successful startup and growth of my business, Green Clean Autospa. And so doing the research and creating strong plans is important. As veterans, that's what we, you know, since you're a young service member, you're taught, you know, always have a plan. You know, you don't leave a wire without the plan. You don't do anything without a plan. And so for veterans, having a plan, which is, you know, creating a business plan, those are all basic things that are inherent to service members. So, which are great traits to have when you become a future business owner. Again, in my case, it took several years to educate myself, just like with, you know, with the Marine Corps teaching you things. I had to be a student of washing cars, and, you know, went to car wash college. It sounds weird, but there's a car wash college. Learned everything I need to know. Anybody can ask me anything about washing cars, about chemicals, chemistry, the robotics of it. Those are all things that, you know, you have to go all in when it comes to something that you're very passionate about. For me, you know, people are like, how do you still active duty and do this and do that? And again, it's the team, right? So my wife's here in the back. I couldn't do any of this without her. She's an entrepreneur spirit, and Secretary Hall hit some great points where, you know, as a veteran, you hire other veterans, and that's exactly what I did, because those are guys that I can trust. They can go out. I know they're going to show up work on time. I know they're going to be in the right uniform or the right, you know. Those are basic things, right? And if you got a guy that's in the right uniform and shows up, that's half the battle right there. So, you know, but we've been blessed. We opened in 2016, one location, and now we just earned the base contract for 5 more locations September of 2017. So we have 6 locations currently. The Carolina Small Business Development Fund, they helped fund our 7th planned location, which will break ground this year. So that'll be location number 7, and we have 2 more planned in the year after. So we're aggressive, but we're deliberate. So again, you don't do anything without a plan. And for us, and part of it is like, man, why are you growing so fast? Because, you know, I don't want somebody to outmaneuver me, and that's a basic thing. And, you know, you learn as a, you know, you never allow somebody to come in and take, you know, basically take your child. Like, you come in the spot, you dominate the spot. And, you know, we've been blessed to be, since 2016, we're #1 on Facebook, Yelp, and Google, #1 car wash within the first year. We started turning profitable, I want to say, about 4 or 5 months after we opened up. And so those are things that, as veterans, again, I keep hitting back to the planning aspect, becoming a true student of what you are and your passion. But that's blessed us to be allowed to be so aggressive in growth, but deliberate. We're not just, hey, give me money. You know, everything we do has a plan, and everything we do is strategic and has a long-term plan. So again, I could not have done it without my wife and a few other people that were mentioned. The SBTDC, Small Business Technology Development Center. They're out of Wilmington, but great resources, and they provide a lot of horsepower behind. I know we have Coastal Carolina that help as well, but for me, it's all about the team. And the big thing is, you know, another trait you learn as a veteran is you never should have a single point of failure, right? So my staff, they operate like they own the place, and that's how I want it. So I don't need to be there. You hire good people, you trust them, and I see myself as a person behind the scene removing barriers. So if you got good people that want to work hard, you should just be the guy to remove the barriers out the way and just let them run the ball. And that's how we do business, and that's how we operate. And my staff, they're not here, but if you look online, you saw reviews, that's all them. So I'm you know, they make it happen. But again, you know, I could not have done it without my wife in the back. And so that's that's pretty much my story. So I appreciate all the other organization, JP Morgan Chase. I think that's a big deal because when I first started out looking for money, like, man, where am I gonna get this money? Because I don't come from money. And I'm like, man, so for us, we had to put, it was my TSP, my retirement, all the deployment, when you go to deployments, you save your money up. A lot of guys, they go out and buy fancy cars from me. I was like, man, I'm gonna invest in a car wash. And so that's what Green Clean is. But, all banks, the bottom line is all banks aren't created equal. Just because someone says that, hey, they have a SBA program doesn't mean that they have the horsepower behind it with the loan packaging and other things to make it happen. So I think it's very important to partner with great organizations like the ones here to make sure that, when you call somebody answers the phone. It's not like, I was working when I was looking for money with one bank, and they're a pretty known bank. I don't want to call them out, but I've been banking with them for years, and you would think like, man, these guys are pro-veteran. Just it's in the name. You would think, man, these guys are awesome. But when you call them, and they have one guy that represents the whole state, and he gets back with you in 3 or 4 days versus a company like what you guys have here. They answer the phone when you call them. To me, that's what matters most. Is somebody going to answer the phone and answer your questions when you call. So having the backing and support of the Carolina Small Business Development Fund and the SBTDC, those are all godsends for small businesses like me, because we want to give back to the community. Since we've opened, the first weekend we gave free car washes to everybody, and we asked people to donate to another veteran organization, which is by another fellow Marine. He's a major active duty, and it's to help veterans that were hurt in combat. Give them opportunities to go to Alabama, go hunting, just some type of reprieve where they can just get a break. And so we helped him raise, $1,500. And last year we helped donate 500 backpacks to local schools here in Jacksonville. We've donated thousands of dollars between Ainsley's Angels and other organizations. So, but the bottom line is most veterans, we just don't want handouts. We want to hand up, because all you got to do is give us a ball, and we're gonna make it happen. So, but the main thing is just the opportunity. So I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to allow me to speak on behalf of other veterans. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. You really tell a very important story in terms of the journey and determination coming out of the military, and then committing yourself to entrepreneurship and building it, and thing that we all take with the 6 locations. You're hiring people, right? So you're a job creator in all of those. You're a smart man too. You gave credit to your wife. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your story. I would be remiss if I didn't ask Ms. Shaw to come up and say some words, because she's not only at Coastal, but she runs small business centers across this state, and a tremendous partner. And you never devalue partners. You always appreciate them. So come and share with us.
Well, it's just really exciting to be here today, and I think what I want to tell you is this is a collaboration that is so important, not just to Jacksonville and Onslow County, but to the whole state of North Carolina. Thank you, JP Morgan Chase, for opening your pocketbook. I think we're probably going to be knocking on your door a little bit more. The long line that Harry Brown talked about, that Senator Brown said would be the most difficult thing that Linwood would have to do, would be to make decisions about who was going to get that money. So we know that's going to happen pretty quickly. If you're a small business owner in the room today, would you please stand up? Or a former small business owner. This is what it's all about. John stood up here and talked about his story. He saved his money, he worked hard, he had a vision, he went and got help, And then he tried to figure out where he was going to get the capital to do what he needed to do. And he found that in the Carolina Small Business Development Fund. These small business owners go out there and they take a risk. And they have to have someone who's going to meet them with that risk. And today we're talking about the Carolina Small Business Development Fund and JP Morgan Chase. And we can't thank you enough for what you're doing for our veteran-owned small businesses.
Again, let me thank Senator Brown for taking time out of your schedule and your busyness to come share with us. And Secretary Hall, thank you. And JP Morgan Chase, certainly thank you. You've been with us we were started out at MetLife in Raleigh, and JP Morgan Chase was there. And we were in Fayetteville, and they even had someone down from New York to come along with us. So it's good to have partners. And let me say in my closing remarks that Ann said it right. It is really about collaboration. And that is, how do you bring other partners to the table to do this important work of growing our small businesses, especially our veterans entrepreneurs in this state. We partner, we have an MOU with Bunker Labs. Bunker Labs is a great partner. We also, as we plan to launch and expand this program, we're in discussion with MetLife, who has, if you might know, very committed to veterans in this state. I think Secretary Hall visited some of their events. In fact, one of the most impressive things they've done was for disabled veterans, those who like to go out and boat and fish and recreation. They spent over $200,000 and put in a accessible ramp for veterans at the lake near their facility. I thought that was just a huge gesture, but it really speaks to a commitment to serving our veterans in so many different ways. We're looking now at how we expand this, because we found out, Senator Brown was right, access to capital is very important, but there are some other challenges that veterans face. And one of them is obviously credit. Another is business services. That's one of the reasons we designed our business service program headed by Joe Balla, because we realized that one of our missions as a mission lender is to not only provide capital, but how about those who are dreaming? How about those who perhaps have a good business plan, but it's not all together, right? And we can work with the small business centers to help them get ready. But it means that there's a step and there's a process of working with our veterans so that they can be capital. Because one thing we call ourselves is dream catchers. You have a dream, and we want to see that dream fulfilled. And we think it is very important. To have a partner like the state, who, to be honest with you, if it had not been for that funding, I don't think we would attract investment from JP Morgan Chase. And when you speak of banks, many banks understand and they support us in two ways. And here's why. We are a small business lender. Our loan typically goes from $5,000 to $250,000. Banks will find those loans probably not cost effective for their business model, right? And so the borrowers we deal with, so they say to show our support for small businesses, we will invest in organizations like Carolina Small Business Development Fund, who will take those dollars that they invest, whether they a low-interest loan or whether it's, in this case, a grant that restricted for capital deployment, not for operation support, but for capital support. You take those and you invest them in communities and in people that we would like to invest, but we cannot invest. That's significant. That's huge. And so when you look at our investors and partners, you will see PNC Bank, you will see Wells Fargo, you will see JP Morgan Chase, you see Bank of America, and it's all toward how do we take those funds and make capital available to small businesses, veteran business, women-owned entrepreneurship that are growing in this state. How do we do that in such a way that we can say we support small businesses, we support veterans, and without the investment of the state, we would not be able to have that magnet to attract investors, because that's very important. And so as we move this path forward, one of the things we wanted to do, we're in discussion now, we can't make the announcement yet, but it's close, and I know it's not horseshoes, and close doesn't matter, but it is, it is getting close. We hope and within several weeks, we have an announcement about another important initiative, veteran, working with SBA and working with the Veteran Administration as relates to veterans, primarily those who are transitioning, and the difficulty they have with business services, technical assistance, whether it's marketing, whether it's business plan 101, or whether it's understanding where do I go for funding. Nationally, they found out that fintech companies, the Lending Tree and some of these other fintech companies, they are microwave. They get it to you quick. They get it to you fast. But behind this dotted line, the numbers means that the interest rate and fees are high. We found out that in some cases it's 39%. So it's fast, it's quick, and it's good. But anything that's fast and quick is not good, right? And so we have literally rescued a number of veterans who got it fast, got it quick. And one of the things they do is that when you go and get those funds, they go into your account weekly and withdraw from your account. And you agree to that. And then when you find out that if there is a dip in your revenues, in your cash flow, and you need it, it literally can put you out of business. And so one of the things that we're finding out from SBA as well as from the Veteran Administration is that many of these veterans, when they come out, need to know about alternatives so they don't start their dream and get it burst by those fintech companies who literally are predatory in lending to our veterans. Shame on them. That's what I said. And I said not ashamed because it is the right thing to say. It's the moral thing to say. So thank you for coming. We're excited to be here, but we're more excited to help people like John to fulfill his dream and to move. And again, Senator Brown, Secretary Larry Hall, who partners with us, and to Matt, thank you so much. And we look for the next million. All right. Thank you all for being here, and to the chamber. You're very, very special to reach it as we reach out to help put this together. We thank you tremendously. Okay, let's give her a hand, would you? All right, thank you so much. As who that said, when you say all you know, it's time to go.